Brilliance Audio presents American Exceptionalism and American Innocence, a people's history of fake news from the Revolutionary War to the War on Terror, by Roberto Sirvent and Danny Haiphong, performed by Tim Andrés Pabon. Forward. Countering the Violence of Imposed Forgetting by Ajamu Baraka. The civilized have created the wretched, quite coldly and deliberately, and do not intend to change the status quo, are responsible for their slaughter and enslavement, rain down bombs on defenseless children whenever and wherever they decide that their vital interests are menaced, and think nothing of torturing a man to death. These people are not to be taken seriously when they speak of the sanctity of human life or the conscience of civilized world. James Baldwin. While the 20th century was a century of unparalleled human depravity, with literally millions of lives lost in 2 planetary wars and millions more in smaller wars, the 21st century was supposed to be different. History had supposedly ended with the victory of the United States as the sole great power, its civilization the envy of all. However, the century slated to be the dawn of expanded greatness for the United States has seen the nation at war for 17 of the last 18 years, with the real possibility that death by war in this century could vastly exceed the millions lost during the last. The invasion of Afghanistan and then Iraq, drone warfare, torture, and black sites as part of the War on Terror complemented the militarized urban warfare and poverty imposed on people of color that characterized the new normal supported by both major political parties, the corporate media, and large sections of the U.S. public. How can this be? How could a nation that claims its fidelity to universal values of human rights, international law, democracy, freedom, and human progress also be the main protagonist in the systematic global assaults on those very same values without any apparent psychological tension between those two contradictory realities? Roberto Sirvent and Danny Haiphong provide an explanation. Like a thunderbolt that penetrates the dark fog of ideological confusion, American Exceptionalism and American Innocence, a people's history of fake news from the Revolutionary War to the War on Terror, illuminates the hidden spaces of the official story of the territory that came to be known as the United States of America. Meticulously researched, American Exceptionalism and American Innocence utilizes a decolonial lens that debunks the distorted, mythological liberal framework that rationalized the U.S. settler colonial project. The decolonized frame allows them to critically root their analysis in the psychosocial history, culture, political economy, and evolving institutions of the United States of America, without falling prey to the unrecognized and unacknowledged liberalism and national chauvinism that seeps through so much of what is advanced as radical analysis today. That is what makes this work so exceptional and so valuable at this moment of institutional and ideological crisis in the U.S. This crisis is indeed more severe and potentially more transformative than at any other moment in this nation's history. With unflinching clarity, Sirvent and Haiphong go right to the heart of the current social, political, economic, and ideological crisis. They strip away the obscurantist nonsense pushed by liberal and state propagandists that the Trump phenomenon represents a fundamental departure from traditional American values by demonstrating that Trumpism is no departure at all, but only the unfiltered contemporary and particular expression of the core values that the nation was founded on. What Sirvent and Haiphong expose in their work is that American exceptionalism and its corollary, American innocence, are the interconnected frames that not only explain why the crude white nationalism of a Donald Trump is consistent with the violence and white supremacy of the American experience, but also why that violence has been largely supported by large sections of the U.S. population repeatedly. As the exception...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?